and welcome. Welcome once again, man. Welcome to your Fruitful Sundays. And of course, I would be making a very big mistake if I do not say thank you all. I've seen you guys' feedback both on TikTok, Facebook, and on YouTube. I've got to say, uh, I'm seeing this platform, getting to where we want it to get to. And of course, without you all, that is not possible, you see. So I just wanted to say thank you guys because you are seeing it and I'm seeing you all. Actually, we are seeing you because this is not just me. It's a platform. There's quite a lot of people behind it, but the most important one behind it, it's God. So that is our pillar of strength, if I can say it. So, but I wanna say thank you and welcome you all once again to our third third episode. Who knew, man? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? I'm just glad you all are still here, bruh. You all are still here, and I'm still doing this. Actually, I'm very tired today. I had a very long day, uh, which I don't really want to get into it. But I said, hey, how do I end my day without having to do an episode for my people? That is you, of course. That is you. You guys are my people. And of course, welcome to another episode of our Fruitful Sundays. So this week actually, we're going to just be speaking. I'm just going to be speaking my mind, of course, and how I see things and this is a journey. Like I said, this is just the. I wouldn't say I'm teaching. I'm not teaching. I'm just having a conversation and I'm engaging with you guys. Your comments and everything that you see. I can't say word to it with what you guys have said, but I've seen all the comments and everything, and everyone who's looking forward to the episodes and the learnings and wisdoms that may come with us. I thank you because it's you who motivates me actually to keep on doing this because then I'm seeing it that it's getting to where I want it to get to. So without having to take too much of your time, man, this is your weekly. We need to find a word, but I know this is your weekly sense of I don't know what weekly. I don't know, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But I know it's your weekly gem, man. It's your weekly gem, and I want it to be that. Every time you listen to this episode, you become a better and better person than you were before you even listened to it. That is how I wanted to, reach to you. That is how or where I wanted to get to. So, without having to speak too much on that, today's episode is going to be about, becoming the person or the journey of becoming the person that you want yourself to be. You know, I've realized something about myself, and this actually also reminds me of the book that I've read before. I've read this book of the Atomic Habits. Yeah, the Atomic Habits. It speaks about our habits. I just don't remember word to word of what I've read then, but I've learned that these books that I've read actually have helped me to develop the kind of a character that I might be having or that I might be, today. This book was speaking about, developing the certain characters or the habits that they are taking you to the place or to the person that you want to be. Last episode we spoke about taking care of the board of your directors. The board of directors, I mean your circle, the people that you keep around. Your habits and the people that you keep around goes hand in hand. You can't be having a bad company and think that the systems that you put in place for yourself will work for you. I don't know, English is just trying to run away from me, but yeah, that is just what we're going to be talking about because it's often more than not that we speak about these things but do not put the systems in place. So today, you and I, my people, I want us to speak about these habits that we need to put in place. Identifying the kind of an individual that you are and having it doesn't make sense to me that if you are in school, you have a system put in place that if I do one, two, and three, I'm going to get to this place. And then if you're at work, you have systems put in place, and you know that if you do one, two, and three, you're going to get to this place. But in your own life as an individual, there isn't any structure, there isn't any habits that you're trying to develop, there isn't anything. You're just living life happen to you. That is just something that I want us to focus on about, because I'm realizing this about myself as well, that I have systems and places, but there's no system put in place for my life. That I'm saying this is something that I'm genuinely intentional about and I'm following about my life. Except the fact that I'm just a prayerful person and I'm believing in the Christian way of doing things. You know. But is there any system put in place for my life that I would say, okay, I'm being this person and I'm intentionally following these systems because, I've decided to be, or I've decided to, about my life. And we worry about a lot of things in our lives, that when certain things do not happen, we tend to identify ourselves as those failures and forgetting everything that we've done for ourselves to get to that point in time. What am I talking about? Instead, in school, you may pass from first year to final year and fail perhaps in your final year, God forsake. The minute you start failing in final year, you forget everything that you've endured, or the kind of an individual that you've been throughout, and then you put your mind to this failure that you've experienced right here, right now, and you tend to identify yourself as that particular failure. And of which that is not something that, if an individual with a system in their life should or will be, succumbing their lives or themselves to that particular failure. If I have a system, I would know, okay, the system did not get me to 1, 2, and 3, and 4 because there's 1, 2, and 3, 4 that I did not do. But if I'm not having that thing, trust me, I'll be convincing myself even that time to want to become that failure. Meanwhile, that is not the case, you know. And that is something that I've realized about my life. And I'm saying, okay, why would I not have systems put in place for my life? Meanwhile, at work, I have systems, church systems, every other thing that you indulge or engage yourself in, the systems except your life. You're not being intentional about certain things. There's this other book that I read. I think it was A Leader Without a Title. I think that was the book. A Leader Without a Title. I loved that book because that person, or the main character, the main individual that was being spoken about in that book, clearly identifies, you know, himself as an individual before putting a title to himself to say, okay, this is me because I have this title. This is me because I have this 1, 2, and 3. He has a system put in place to say, I am myself. And me being myself, meaning that anything, any win, any lose that happens in my life, it happens because I am myself. And I am myself comes in with the habits that he has created for himself. It comes in with, the self-awareness that he has put himself in. And it comes in with the people that he had put in his place, that they are also, adding and not subtracting to the kind of an individual that he is. That every time that he wins, he recognizes it as a win and not as himself as a winner, or himself as that particular event that will be happening. And also, something that I realized about my life is we are always looking forward to the next big thing. That when we don't get to that big thing, then we start to ask ourselves questions to say, I don't know, what if I'm not? Or what if I won't? I don't know, something like that. And I'm realizing that is because you do not have a system put in place that identifies you clearly as an individual before any other thing that you can attach to your life. So, in this episode, man, I just wanted us to speak about this, the kind of an individual that you are becoming, and the habits that are put in place for you to become that person. Do you have any habits that you've intentionally put in place? Do you have any system that you've put for your life? Right now, for my life, I'm intentional about my Christian way of doing things. I'm intentional about, uh, you know, doing things as how I want myself or to be, or doing things as how I would love myself to do them if I'm that person that I'm looking forward to being. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm just trying to let you know that we need systems in our lives. I know I'm one person who believes in the higher power, which is in God. I have systems that are put in place, and that, sometimes I'm asking myself, how is it? But like the person who doesn't go to church at times and doesn't receive the teachings that we get from church, sometimes I'm like, Ish, I feel sorry for these people, because sometimes when you encounter certain problems, you do not know where to run to. Unlike myself, when I encounter any problem, I know where to run to. I know what to do. I know, you know what I mean? But if you don't have those kind of things as an individual, I don't know. I don't know. So being intentional about the person you want to be and the habits put in place to help you get to that position or get to that person that you want to be. You do not need to start then. Like myself right now, I've started this platform because there's a certain picture of myself that I have in my mind. And I'm thinking, for me to be able to get there, the character of that person, I build it now. And that is what I'm trying to do. And I'm doing it right in front of you. So why am I doing it in front of you, looking at me and not doing it for yourself? You see, that is something else. So what am I saying here is, uh, put systems in place. Develop that character and become that person that you want to become. And that person that you want to become starts today. Starts now. In fact, after you watching this video, I'm thinking you're gonna start. I do not know what is it that you want to become. I do not know what is it that you want to do. I do not know what is it that you want to see in yourself. But I'm saying that person that you want to see, that very same. I don't know if it's just me, perhaps. I do not know. But my mind tells me all of us here have a certain picture of whom we want to become, or who you want yourself to be in the next 10 to 15, or in the near future. And I'm thinking you do not need to wait to get there for you to start being that person. You start now, developing that person you want to be now, you know. And that is just what I'm intentional about right now. And the habits that I've been speaking about. There's this one other book that I've read. I did not forget. I just forgot if it was the Leader Without a Title or it was the one of habits. It says if every one of us cleaned our doorstep, then the world would be a very better place. And that is the thing about your life as well. If you yourself can clean your doorstep, then your life would be a very much better place. And it starts with you, with the discipline, the intentionalness, the I do not know if that is the right English to say. It starts with you with the discipline, being intentional and putting system in place for your life to be able to, become the kind of an individual that you want to see yourself be. I've realized that we often complain a lot about certain things that sometimes we do not even make changes to the things that we can change ourselves. You know, there's other. I have this. That is probably because I've read quite a few books there and there. There's this other one that says, cleaning up the smaller tasks opens up a time for you to be able to action the other bigger tasks in life. That's just what I do, in my life as well. To say, if there's anything that I can change now about my life, I change it now. I don't have to wait for the next 5, 10 days or next month to change it about myself. If there's anything that I want to change now, I'm changing it now so that it can be able to open the doors and the time for the other things that are bigger, that will need bigger time to, for me to adjust and for me to change and for me to be able to develop that particular character that I want to develop and the time specific for that particular, character that I want to develop. But if there's something that I can change about myself now, and if there's any habit that I need to, put in place right now for my life to get to a certain point, and that thing I can change it now, I change it now, and I stop complaining. Oh my God. The fact that I keep on saying this is there's another one that says, something about your mental laziness. It says, do away with the saying, I can't, because then it prohibits you from thinking something that you should have been doing to now thinking, no, I can't, and not thinking anyway. Because the saying, I can't, it hinders or it triggers a mental laziness. So the saying says, do away with the triggers of mental laziness, which is sayings like I can't, I don't know how to. The minute you're saying I can't, already automatically you've taken yourself out of the thinking capacity of, you know, coming up with a solution. So I don't know right now if I'm just being all over the place. But the video today is just about being intentional about the person you're trying to become. It's about putting the systems in place for yourself to develop that particular character of that individual that you think you see yourself to be. If you want to be a CEO like myself, you start now. Be a CEO of your life. Be like life doesn't need to always happen to us. There are some things that we need to take charge and take control of in our lives. I don't know if maybe I'm speaking from a perspective that you and we don't have the same perspectives, and even our lives are different. That I know for sure. But the choices we make, probably we have a 50-50% chance, both of us, and that from today, if you are decisive and you are intentional about the decisions that you are to take and the changes that you are to make about your life, I think we can be able to do certain things that we've aspired to get to, and we started now doing that, which then makes it a bit easier for the journey or even for yourself to be able to become that which you want to see yourself as. I don't know, man. My life has just been, I don't know, man. Maybe I speak too much about my life that it seems to be perfect, and it's not. It's not. Because, trust me, a lot of times I'm very much difficult on myself. I've been told before that you are too strict. I've been told before that you are. Yeah, I've once had the nickname, Mr. Serious. Of which it's a bit weird that how do you say Mr. Serious to me? Because I might be serious, of course, but Mr. Serious, I don't know. I don't know. But if you do not know me, perhaps, you see, but that is just some of the things that I think have helped me to become the kind of an individual that I am or that I want to become. Yeah, but so being the main character in your life will help you, and being the main decision maker. English is not my mother tongue, but I'm here either way. So don't be too hard on me. Don't be too hard on me, but I'm still learning as well. So I'm just trying to say, let's not live life happen to us. Let's take charge of our lives, put systems in place, develop the characters that you want to see yourself having. Myself, I want to see myself as a timer, having a good family, and having people that I love and happy with. So I'm trying to just put systems in my life right now, and praying to God that I get to that a place, and I'm being the best vision of myself that I can be right now. Meanwhile, I'm working together. I'm not trying to worry about what, I'm being the best version of myself right now. Meanwhile, I'm working my way towards that thing that I want to see myself as. And one thing that I've realized also is, probably not you, but maybe the person of my age, someone else. We are worried about the kind of lives, families, the kind of women, wives we're going to be having in the future. And I'm realizing, actually, why are we worrying about that. Because once I get married, I'll never be single. I don't know, but I'm thinking about it and I'm like, but why am I worrying about that and not being the single vision of myself that I can be right now? That given that the person who comes in my life doesn't find me, not being the best vision of myself because I've been worrying about getting to that other side of things. Why not just be the best vision of myself right now? That the next person who's gonna find me or whom I'm gonna find, whom I'm gonna marry or who I'm gonna spend my entire life with will just find me as a complete individual that I'm not even worried about that because I've prepared myself and I became the best version of myself that when that time comes in I'm not gonna change myself because I've just been trying to be something I'm not in. You know, yeah, it's just some of the system that I've just trying to put myself put in my life. And if you're trying to do the same things as I'm doing right now, YouTube and whatnot, dude, never mind the comments. There'll always be someone out there who's thinking they think like you think, and they don't. So there's always one person who will come in and if you want to do YouTube, do YouTube. If you want to do develop that thing today. And I'm realizing that uh, we are our best investment. I don't know, best investment or best assets to say. Because if you develop a skill yourself and you equip yourself with that particular skill, you are gone, ganji, gone. Literally gone. So, ish, I don't know, man. I don't know. But today's episode was just to come in and let you guys, be in the know of the habits and systems put in place. As I'm still going to emphasize the board of directors. Very much important because to this episode today as well, they still play a big role, you know. Because if you put systems in your life that these people that are around you do not succumb to it or do not support these systems, but you're trying to become certain individual and that is just, it doesn't work like that. And I'm thinking everything begins in your mind. That is what I'm thinking. Everything begins in your mind, and the minute you start to tell yourself you can't, then that is where then you know you won't. Because mental laziness, because you've stopped yourself from thinking of other ways of doing this thing or making it possible. And if you're trying to become someone, you don't want to have such things or such sayings in your mouth. The things you utter with your mouth are very much important. Be very much careful what is it that you say with your mouth, and yeah, be intentional, create systems and habits, man. I'm still going to read that book again and clean your doorstep. So yeah, that is it for me. This is our third episode and I just wanted to put that forward to say, man, systems and systems. So thank you very much guys, and I hope the next time I'm doing the fourth episode, it will be the question and answers, obviously, of those that you guys have asked and those that you guys would have been seeking and answers for. So, with that being said, thank you very much and enjoy your weekly doses of fruitful Sundays. So, from me to you guys, cheers and thank you.